Welcome to the TCG-Royals podcast. Today is a special episode. It's our technically our second episode, but the first episode we recorded of this didn't have any audio. That was my fault. But I'm glad to introduce my co-host again, Aidan Khus. Aidan can take it from there.
Yeah. So welcome to the second episode. I mean, this is supposed to be the second. I mean, it's the first. We have to be doing this weekly. Should be a weekly to bi-weekly sort of thing. Whenever we're not feeling it, we'll talk about it. Joining the podcasting game, fresh in the game, me and John. John ain't no slouch. I'm not a slouch. We're both here. Spread our vast knowledge of the Pokemon TCG and everything around it. And we're coming off, one of us is coming off a pretty solid finish in Louisville. The other one, not so much. John, let's, how'd it go? How'd it go this weekend? How'd it go this weekend?
It went pretty good. I wanted to cash this event. I only got top 128. I think I finished like 102 or something. Day one, I lose first round and then wins 6 more and then lose my last round. Go in to day 2, probably knowing I can't make top cut, but I just wanted to cash. So I can go 6-2 into day 2. We'll talk about the drama that happened with that later, but then yeah, I just went 2-2 in day 2, so I ended up top 128.
Yeah,
kind of a mid finish.
No, I mean, yeah, top 128. It's like feels like a mid finish. But I mean, it is the start of the season. There's plenty of room for improvement. It just sets the bar higher for what we should be getting later in the season. Still nothing to scoff at. Still a pretty solid finish. It's not like I have anything better.
Yeah, your event go.
My event went. It went as okay as it could go. It was just Reggie Drago. Played Reggie Drago. Hit John in the mirror. Round 4, Johning. And lost the flip, dead drew both games. Pretty out of there. Lost to a Goldango, and I lost my winning end to a Roaring Moon after some pretty rough draws and a Curum in the prize cards in game 2, which wasn't very good. So, yeah, that was pretty much how it went. It was not very good.
All right, well, let's go into the meta percentages. So day 1, we have top deck was Roaring Bolt. I think in our fake episode, we definitely predicted that was going to be number 1. I don't think we super thought Tropicos was going to be second at 10%. And then the other 2 that were interesting was Drago and Palkia making the graphic, which were decks that were hyped up, but I don't think a lot of people were playing them or had really good finishes in the tournaments leading up to this event. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we pretty much knew. I think we did actually predict Terapagos to be. I don't remember our tier list about the percentages, but I know for sure we had Raging Bolt number 1. That was like. We already knew that. Terapagos, I think we had it either 2 or 3. And Dragapult. Terapagos and Dragapult were the 2 that we knew. The Terapagos, Dragapult, Lugia were the 3. We knew that those 3 were going to comprise the 2, 3, 4 spot. We predicted a pretty big fall off of Zard. I think that was pretty true. From what we could tell, it was definitely pretty up there. Like it just fell off from most tournaments. And we obviously predicted Palkia to be a pretty big deck. We predicted Reggie Drago to be a big deck, but I don't know if either of us had it making the graphic. I think Reggie Drago was definitely making the graphic. I don't think maybe we had Palkia as the first deck out or the first deck in. It's either that or Thorns.
Yeah, something on Edge. Yeah, I think we predicted Thorns, but I don't think that was a very popular deck this weekend. Or
I mean, yeah, I think we got that one pretty. It was pretty dang close. Like we pretty much we know that one pretty good. What we didn't nail was the day 2 conversion rate of Charizard.
Yeah, that was so interesting. I didn't predict that. I think we both chalked chalked up Charizard as kind of a not good pick and kind of a bad deck right now.
Yeah, I think both of us kind of like thought that the deck was just kind of like out of there. It didn't have really great matchups into most of the stuff in the field. Um, but yeah, it definitely did have um a pretty good showing from day one to day two. Sebastian Lashmet, seniors runner up in 2022, finished in the top four with Charizard at this event, losing a close set to Michael Davidson in top four. Um, yeah, I mean, pretty strong showing. I know him and his testing partner, Nathan Osterkatz and seniors, they both lost round one and they went 21-0 to end their tournaments, respectively, both in top four of their own divisions.
Yeah, why do you think Charizard did well in this event? Do you think it was just kind of some lucky matchups, or do you think it kind of particularly has some good matchups in this meta?
I mean, obviously, everyone knows Charizard has a pretty solid Raging Bolt matchup. I mean, that's like the reason why most people were like really hyped on Zard. I also don't think it really has the worst Lugia matchup. I think the Lugia matchup's pretty good. Um, Pretty solid. You're 330 HP. You could always kill Archeops anytime. They really have to get their board going in order to take you down. And you have Dusknoir, so you could just like instantly like pop Lugias. You can't just like they can't read the wind against you, as like they couldn't pass formats, which definitely makes the matchup a little bit more favorable. The Regidrago matchup's a little bit closer than people would expect to. I mean, like I think it could go either way. Regidrago's obviously favored, but still. I think the Tropical matchup is also like finally it's like fair. Most of the matchups are like quite literally fair. Um, with it not really taking a huge glaring auto loss anywhere, other than like really Thorns. Like Thorns feels like a pretty atrocious matchup. Because they have crushing hammers and like you're only hitting like 180 for most of the game. It's just not very good. But still, I mean, Charizard, pretty strong showing. Um, Definitely less rounds than like regionals in the past. So I think there could be some showing there of there being like less rounds for other decks to maybe get in. But and like also stall and control didn't really have a great showing because you only take one tie and like you have to win all your games. Pretty hard. I don't know. I don't know what you thought about Charizard or Control or whatever decks were.
I definitely agree that it takes a 50-50, and I think it's a pretty good deck to play, and you can kind of outskill your opponents. Playing like the Gouging Fire, the just 260. There's some cool includes I saw. I played a Charizard.
You played Gouging Fire in Charizard?
Fire. Vitality Man was pretty good into it. Hit the 230. I'm very glad I played that card. I was not high on that card, and it was very helpful.
Yeah, I like had to tell you whenever you got to the room at like midnight. I'm like I saw you cut Vitality Man. Put the back in your deck. It needs to be back in your deck.
But yeah, overall, I think I also really like the top eight. I really like there being like unique decks, except for repeating Lugias, which I think Lugias is a consistent deck that's good. I think that was also Lugia was a really good pick for this event. And so I think the top eight was really cool. And then what do you think about Raging Bolt taking it all with Gedimer coming out from the unbanned?
Oh yeah,
spiking the event.
I'm gonna be 100%. This is like Raging Bolt's fine. The Bravery Charms were needed this weekend, 100%. 3 or 4, one of the two. You needed to play Charms. Like, it definitely was just the move, as shown by like everyone who did well with the deck. Yeah, I think this is more of just a testament to like Gedimer just being pretty good at Pokemon rather than Raging Bolt actually being a good deck. I'm still a Raging Bolt hater. I do not think the deck is very good. I think if you want to play a deck that dead draws a lot and you need to find yourself out of these tricky situations and you go boom, Raging Bolt is like a pretty good deck for you. It's like not that hard to play, very linear. But like it is hard in certain situations whenever you're just drawing very suboptimally or you're deciding what to knock out. We talked about a couple of cards that like Caleb didn't play, like Briar. Those cards might be okay. But yeah, I mean, very linear deck was just the play to this tournament.
I definitely
Probably
the new ancient mon. I forgot the name.
Slitherwing.
I think that's really necessary for the Tropidos matchup. I ended up beating, I think, 3 Roy Moons,
Or Raging Bolts.
Raging Bolts. Yeah, and it felt really favored. It felt like I was in control of most games, but if they played that card, I definitely could see it, especially it being out of Dusknoir range where you can't just use it as like a Briar move. It's a really annoying thing to kill in the Tropicos matchup.
Yeah, and it one-shots Ursaluna as well. One-shots Ursaluna, one-shots Tropicos, because of the burn damage. So
I definitely think everyone would be playing the new guy instead of the Fetty Shocks.
Slitherwings, yeah. Slitherwing is just infinitely better. I mean, yeah, that could be good, but also another card I was thinking about, what if we play the Baby Raging Bolt? That card could be good.
Oh, the snipe.
Good to mimic you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. The Slitherwing is probably just better. The deck has probably like not really that much of a chance to block Lax. I know Manly hit Cal to end his day one with the deck. I think it finished 5-1-2. Yeah, just completely got decimated by Snorlax with the 3 Mimikyus. Just not a good matchup.
And then before we head off of kind of the percentages, I want to hear about your opinion on Polt because kind of fell off the graph. I think it definitely underperformed on this event for sure, not even having a top 8. Just surprised. I definitely thought there was going to be a top 8 for sure, but that and not being on day 2 graph is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we saw most of the Polt hate. I mean, like, let's be so for real. The deck is not bad. I mean, I think the deck was just like it had a target on its back for sure this event, like 100%. We saw the Hedrick group, all of their lost box decks, all had Spiritomb in it. They were ready. They were ready 100%. We saw Terapagos playing Spiritomb. We saw different decks playing Spiritomb. That's just clearly anti-Dragapult, anti-Lax. Like, this is just, like, we're just trying to beat these decks. I mean, and Dragapult, like, already didn't have a really great Raging Bolt matchup, but throw in, like, 3 or 4 Bravery Charms and 3 Switch cards, and, like, we could call that, like, not a good matchup at all. Yeah, definitely was just hated a ton. And there's even Lax at top tables, which I don't think is a good matchup, because they only play 1 Switch card, and they don't play Turo, so definitely was just hated, I think.
I wonder if it has a kind of, it performs better in next couple regionals and special events because no one's really prepping for it, and kind of everyone kind of pushes it aside. I wonder if it kind of sneaks in and hits a top 8 or hits a finals or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that this format is showing that it is different than different formats. I mean, we're evolving. Like, this format is evolving from tournament to tournament. The meta is shifting, and there is like some meta evolution, which was not the case from our Shrouded Fable format where we just had Regidrago galore. I mean, sure, Gardevoir won the regional, but he even said it himself. The Regidrago matchup was not very favorable. So, I mean, I'm just glad to see that there is some evolution of the format. Maybe we'll see Raging Bolt go up to 18% because we know that those EU people just love playing their Raging Bolts and their Mews and they just stick on their decks. So maybe we'll see that in Lil.
Now we're gonna go into our tier list that we predicted. So for our tier list we predicted for the podcast never is going to be released. We had S tier, Dragapult, and Lugia. What do you think about that retroactively coming back to it?
I mean, Lugia, I think we both agree. Lugia probably just still stays there. I think Dragapult just really got hated out of the format. Like, I don't think the deck is bad. I think the deck was so good that people just realized that they needed to start hacking their decks. Spiritomb was that card. I mean, Spiritomb was him. I love me some Spiritomb. Told Hedrick, I'm like, yo, if y'all had told me y'all played Spiritomb in your deck, I maybe would have played it. Because I love Lost Box and I love Spiritomb. Like, those are like a deck and a card that I love so much. So, might have played that. Definitely just got hated. I mean, I think it probably drops down this year. I think we had one of our locals, Jesse Spencer, finish in the top 32 with it. I don't know if there's any better placements. Does Limitless actually have all of the results up right now?
I believe so.
At least so. Okay, that's sick. Yeah, so we could see everything right here. There was one. Yeah, it was literally just one Dragapult. Yep, only one Dragapult in the top 32. Yeah, that's not very it's not very promising from the deck, but definitely drops it down. Regidrago stays in the A tier. I mean, it was a pretty like good play on paper to this event. Made top 8. I mean, I don't think there was like a quote unquote play to this event. There are so many different decks in this format that like your matchup spread could have been so different. Like Michael Davidson didn't hit a single Regidrago on his way to making the finals.
Yeah, I
Like
think there was like 20 in day 2.
yeah, I mean, is there actually 20 in day 2? That's crazy. Yeah, that is insane. Third most played deck. Like, I mean, and there's a majority of good players playing the deck. Like Bradner, their entire group, Lucas Singh, Grant Cam Shinoy, like a lot of people played this deck. And this deck just destroys Lost Box. So, I, it's definitely not the greatest of plays, but if you're gonna hit the matchups that you think are right, then you could have a deep run like Davidson.
I do think that's scary though. I think not having a play to event is really weird because you always want to find that deck that is really good for the event and like just give you such high odds. And if you're playing a really good list, that like I feel my bones that I'm a good day 2. I'm going to catch this event. I feel like it's really interesting to see a meta that just like depending on what you hit and like what you're playing, you know what I mean? I definitely think like playing Lugia, Drago, even Pauk or like Raging Bolt, Charizard. I think those are like the 5 decks you could choose, but all those are valid. It's kind of just like what you're more likely to hit, and if you think you have a good list for one of them and like playing it, which is an interesting meta for sure.
Yeah, no, it definitely just showed that there was I think that this is definitely a rare occurrence where there wasn't just a deck that just showed up and dominated. It was kind of like a very like back and forth type of meta game where just like there's a lot of different decks and like there wasn't one deck that was just superior to everything else in the room.
And what are your thoughts on going forward into? I believe there's 2 regionals and 1 special event before LASC, and I think LASC will be, I think the last tournament for this format, so that would be interesting. But how do you think it evolves, and then how do you think LAIC ends up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna watch it evolve. The meta will evolve. The meta will be so much different by the time we get to LAIC. I really want to see what happens at Lille and at Gdansk to see if there's anything cool that happens. I don't really see how it would change from a huge extent. I mean, we see like all the decks that are really good right now. This event didn't really give us a ton of answers. Maybe more people start playing Lost Box and get completely destroyed by Drago. But yeah, I mean, it might just go to this back and forth type meta where we just have to see. It's more about predicting the meta shares rather than making the best deck. Which I guess is kind of hand in hand. Making the best deck goes along with predicting the meta shares because that's really important. See what decks are going to show up in the room. But for LAIC, especially for most of the people in America, it's really hard for us to predict really what's going to be the most popular deck.
Definitely with the different regions, them liking different decks is going to be really interesting to see if some favor different archetypes and that makes other decks better.
Yeah, I think I think last year we got it pretty correct. I know last year was the first tournament of Paradox Rift. We knew Roaring Moon was going to be like number 1 or really close, and it was definitely like way up there. But I think Chien Pao might have been really up there too, so we knew that was going to be like pretty big. And Gardevoir, like Gardevoir, Chien Pao, and Roaring Moon were like the 3. I played Gardevoir, didn't do great, but it was. I think it was still like fairly easy. So we're gonna see. This is our first IC in a very long time that isn't the first tournament of a new format. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm pretty excited for it. I will be there 100%. John will hopefully be there. We don't know yet. Unconfirmed. Confirmed at a later date. Maybe on the podcast next week. We'll know. But yeah. These ICs are gonna be it'd be really cool to see what happens, and we'll definitely get to talk about it for sure. Next week after Lil, we could discuss, see what happens.
I also
We have a
wanted your
little
thoughts
more.
on the 6-2 to 4-0 in day two not making the cut. I want
Oh, I
your
mean,
thoughts.
dude, like I, I mean, if you've been on Pokemon TCG Twitter, you've definitely seen everyone rambling about how if you go into day two, you should at least have a chance to make top eight. Like there should be chance given resistance or winning out or something, right? Because even in the older formats, you could go XO1 or XO. I mean, you could usually go XO and like be guaranteed with the 9 rounds, 6 round day two. If you go 6-0 day two after going 6-2-1, you're 12-2-1. I don't remember a regional where 12-2-1 missed top cut. Um, Maybe it did it NAIC. I'd have to check that one. But yeah, it didn't. It doesn't really happen. Um, like at Knoxville, I went in at 6-2-1. My resistance was terrible. I just went 6-0. You just got to do that sometimes. I mean, if I ID'd, I would have either been eighth or ninth, and I would have bubbled top cut. So sometimes you just gotta just go
Yeah.
XO and then but like whenever in this new format you literally don't even have the chance, which I think is an issue.
Well, I think
Um
you had a chance because 6-2, if you go 4-0 and then some ties happen, you're able to get into isometric top cut. Um,
yeah, but that's given the ties happening because but like there's literally nothing that you can do as like winning. I revise my statements where I'm like, yo, like maybe the resistance, but like if we're gonna have this asymmetric system and we're gonna make it to where like we're trying to disencourage intentional draws and we're trying to encourage people to play more in a timely manner, then like we should at least make it to where like if you don't finish with a tie and you win all your rounds that you're supposed to with 2 losses, you should definitely make at least the asymmetric round. Like,
yeah, I think this tournament was very weird because I think weird one because I think in the next regionals we'll always have 9 rounds. Um, I don't think we'll ever have an 8 round again. I think this was kind of a like a low cap regional, unless you think different. But I think,
no, I think Sacramento will also be a round.
but I think the 7-2. I like the 7-2 because that's a smaller day two, and then you can also guaranteed to cut if you go 4-0.
Yeah,
I believe in that structure. So I think it's more of fixing what happens if there's under 2,000 players or whatever the thing is to make it 9 rounds. I think you fix that, and I think everyone's happy. I think this was kind of just a one-off event that showed the kind of the weirdness in how they decide how much rounds is in day one.
yeah. I mean, I think that there's just issues in general because in Baltimore the issue was the top 32 bubble because like majority of people that were on winning in the top eight that lost, um, didn't like majority of those people did not cash. They did not get
Yeah.
cash, which definitely also is an issue. I think that there's two solutions to this. Um, One of them is extending the cash just down to top 64. Like we're already charging $70 for regional entries. I mean, what's the hurt in going like $500 to each person in top 64?
Or just more
Like,
boxes, honestly. Just
I mean, even you could do more boxes, but I mean, like if you do like a box plus $500, I think a lot of people would be happy with that. Um, I mean, that's like what 32 times 500. That's like $16,000. Like I know that they're making a lot more money than that at these events, and um, even with like we're paying $70 with like 2,000 people, like that's a lot of money. That is a lot of
I
money.
definitely think they can also just increase how many rounds there was because I know previous seasons there would be 5 rounds in day two, if I'm correct. Right?
Yeah, it was 5 or 6. It was most likely 6. Um, because yeah, it was most likely 6 because most regionals did hit over that. Like I think it was like a 800 person
Yeah.
threshold.
But I think overall, people like playing more Pokemon, and with more rounds, you can lose more. And you kind of, I felt like in that structure, how I placed, I definitely felt like I deserved that placement because I played so many rounds, and my record, definitely like
Reflected
that where I should be placed. And the other things that just the tournament just happened, it definitely feel like a lot of people were not feeling like their record determined or felt like how they should place, which I think is important. So I think they either increase it by another round, or I think the round is the only thing that fix it, or as you said, pay out more money to 64. But I think Pokemon will not do that.
Yeah, I don't think they will either. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of solutions. The easiest and the thing that's most likely to happen is either increasing just the amount of rounds we have, in day 1/day 2. They should, like, the easiest thing that they should do is just lower our entry fees, because they could just make it $40 and people would just not really care. Because I mean, $40 is a lot different than $70. I mean, we're making our juniors and seniors. Last year, this is the first year that we finally have it to where the juniors and seniors are paying less than the masters. But before that, we were just stunting the growth of the game significantly, because juniors and seniors have to pay like $70 to enter regional, which is definitely just not good for the growth of the game. And it's just like clearly money hungry. And we're just like exploiting people because we know that they're going to register for these events regardless. And like they're right. I mean, from a business perspective, there's no reason for them to do this. Like, there's no reason for them to lower the entries. We keep on paying it. So until
there was
like
a lot of juniors and seniors in that event. I think there was day 2 for both of them. So
no, now it's good because now it's like $40, I think, for both of them to register.
And I think it showed in the population of
yeah, I mean, they lowered the entry fees for juniors and seniors, and we see more of them at events. So, I mean, yeah, props to whatever Pokemon's doing to realize that they should not be charging $70 for juniors and seniors to come and play a Pokemon tournament, which is really ridiculous. But I mean, I guess for us masters, we're just slaves to the system, so we're just gonna continue to pay our $70 to enter regionals. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, like, both of us, I think we both agree on this as well. Just like paying the $38 to register for LAIC felt so incredibly nice,
especially because you're getting that LAIC swag too. So
you get the LAIC swag, you get the competitor kit, you get everything, dude. It's sick. Yeah, but I could talk about my gripes with the system and my gripes with the organizers, but we'll save that for...
Let's end on a positive note and get to my little game I have for you today. So we're going to be talking about Mega Rayquaza and Terapagos. Mega Rayquaza was kind of a very breaking card with Skyfield, letting you have 8 on the bench, doing 30 times the number of bench Pokemon. And Terapagos, a recent card just printed, that did pretty well. I also played it.
Same thing.
The top 128. Definitely a card I really like. But yeah, so Aidan, who grossed the most amount of money? Terapagos or Mega Rayquaza? And this is accounting for inflation. I put in inflation calculator. I think I think it released in like 2016, so it was not that much more.
Definitely not. Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, I think it like released late 2015 and then rotated 2017. Terapagos has been out for, I believe, a month or so.
The cash era is like 2015, 2016. The cash. Can you tell me what the cash era was? That was 2015, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
When it started, right? Okay. So that first year of regionals, they paid out all the way to top 64. Which is nice, and that is a big factor.
And of course, I give you hints on the placement.
Okay. Can I get the placements of like what are Mega Rayquaza's like best 3 finishes?
I know a regional top 8, and
yeah,
and then the other 2 best finishes would be regional top 8s.
So it doesn't have any regional.
That's 3 of its best finishes.
Oh,
There
just
could be
three of
more.
us.
There could be more regional top eights. But
Well, I know Alex Wilson won a regionals with it. I know that's a fact. Shout out Alex Wilson. And
and Tropicos' best 3 placements is 3 top eights.
yeah, it also has a second. Has a first in Lima. Lima does not pay out cash, so that doesn't count. Got second in Brazil. That's $7,000. Ridiculous amount of money. Did not top 8 in Dortmund, but it had so many placements in the top 32. Oh, but cash is so much different now. Is this including Louisville? Yes, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, so we have a $3,000 finish.
including Gabriel Smart.
Getting the GOAT. G Smart, my GOAT. Actually, I'm gonna go with Tropicus. Lock it in. Tropicus.
Most. Okay, what do you think the difference is? I will say it's within. It is within 20,000.
Dude, it's probably close. Like, it's probably extremely close if it is. It's probably like 8,000. 7,000 or 8,000. 8,000.
Okay, so Mayor Quaza made $55,000, and
Yes.
Tropicos has only made 25,000.
Okay. Well, I'm just like actually just okay. That was a miss. That was a second miss. Had to be Mega Ray, right?
I think it was too dominant for too long. It had too many versions. Like it had the Bronzong version in the beginning.
Oh no,
like it start.
I just don't remember like how different the cash was. Like it was like still like 2.5 for like sometimes the 2.5K for first, depending on if they hit kickers and stuff. But yeah, I'm just like I just threw super. just threw. I mean, it's the story of my weekend.
Mayor Quaza still the GOAT. I bet after LIC definitely Tropicos probably reigns supreme.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, let us know if you think this is a fun game. I think I was looking at kind of the limitless pages, looking to see what fun cards we could compare. And there's definitely some cool ones. Definitely some like $500,000 earning cards. That's actually really interesting to look at.
Oh yeah. We could look at
some Zorak, some Buzzrock.
Zorak. Well, Zorak has to be like $500,000. Also like, oh, what's like another one? Like RCSV Star has to be like pretty high out there.
I think you'd be surprised with how Drago is too.
Drago's up there just because of Worlds. Like, I mean, Iron Thorns is up there too. Let's be so for real. Like, Iron Thorns is like already like
Iron Thorns
like
versus
top
like
20.
Seismitoad.
Like, yeah, Iron Thorns is already like definitely top 20. Like I'm like, oh my god, wait, can we look at like how much money like Professor's research has made or something like that?
I
Like
don't think you can only look at decks. You can. I want to look at cards. We go at it.
If you looked at like how much money like Ultra Ball has made, they'd be like, yo, like Ultra Ball has made like $1 billion. Like,
how much has Water Energy made?
Yeah, like.
Alrighty, but do you have any closing notes? I think it was a good episode. Hopefully, we'll do weekly before and after events. Maybe not for some of the foreign ones. We'll probably just like recap those in some of the episodes we do. Because if there's 2 events a week, we can only cover one, kind of, or mainly focus on one. But yeah, go to Aidan for coaching. He's the GOAT. He coached me into a top 128. And yeah, shout out to Jesse. Jesse's the GOAT. He also helped me prepare for the Dragonpult matchup, and I was the best. And the GOAT is Dragonpult. NA right now for sure.
I guess pretty close. Yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in, and make sure to check out more of the TCG-Royals YouTube. I'm assuming it'll be on YouTube. Hopefully it'll be on Spotify, other platforms. Yeah, hopefully check us out weekly. Follow both of us on Twitter. I think what's your Twitter, John?
I think it's TCG, yeah.
MAAS
Not the right
and
boss.
follow me at Khus Aidan. And
make some banger tweets.
Say a bunch of random shit. Just do whatever I want to do, to be honest. But yeah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.